Hi, I'm Chef Sarita Pereira. I am the fool behind Love Fools, and today I'm going to be making sugo di pomodoro, the entire dish with you. Okay, so we have some fresh herbs here. We have rosemary, we have thyme over here, we have basil over here, we have some nicely finely chopped garlic, we have a very smoky chili called serrano. We have red wine over here, we have the basic salt and pepper,
And now we have the Kagome tomato concentrate.
which we are using as one of the base ingredients today. So one of the key ingredients which I forgot to mention in any Italian cooking is a great quality of olive oil. So we start with that. We take some olive oil because we are first going to flavor the oil. We are going to be using a lot of oil. We start with garlic. This dish is called sugo di pomodoro. Pomodoro means tomato. Tomato which is just, not too overripe, which has a little bit of tartness. We're going to add rosemary as a herb which does not burn so easily and which is still going to give the flavor. Remember, garlic is going to burn very quickly, but you just want the flavoring of the garlic in the oil. What I'm also going to be doing later is I'm going to sieve this oil because I only want to flavor the oil. I'm not going to be using these ingredients. This is what we call just a flavored oil which then goes into the base, creating all these beautiful flavors into the dish. And at some stage now you add thyme so that the oil is going to take all the flavors of different herbs. The garlic is burning over here, but don't worry because you're going to eventually just sieve the oil. Ensure that it does not overburn, giving it the burnt taste, aftertaste. And then we're going to add the basil and just ensure that you're going to not let the garlic burn, you're not going to let the herbs burn over here, because the idea is just to lightly flavor the oil. You almost see the oil color changing to a bit of light green, and you can actually smell the the entire aroma of the oil has changed totally over here. So it's been about now 8 odd minutes. So what you do is you just switch off the gas and then you're going to now sieve this oil. So now you have a beautifully flavored oil. I like to just kind of cut a nice slice of sourdough and dip it into this oil, and on its own it's just a beautiful dish. So even before starting this, I'm just telling you the first dish that you can have on your own. You can see the color of the tomato. It's just the shade before it has become overripe, and you can see the consistency and the thickness of this, and that's the reason I've chosen this because it never fails me. We're going to add about 2 spoons because we're just making one portion right now. So what you're going to do is just ensure that you keep mixing it well. I think we need a little more. And you're going to add a little bit of salt at this stage. I like to add a little pepper in everything. Even though the recipe doesn't require it, it's something that I believe gives a little bit of adds a little extra flavor and a punch to the dish. Just to remove the rawness of the tomato. When it gets nicely cooked, the flavor kind of intensifies and becomes even nicer. I think it's very, very important to use the best of tomatoes to get that flavor. And as you see, it's nicely cooking. You can get all the different aromas of different herbs, and you can see the color as well, which is changing. And what I'm going to do at this stage is start adding a little bit of red wine because that's the flavor. I mean, of course, if you want, you can even add water, but I prefer wine. So just a little wine, which will add to the tanginess. And of course, I think with what is very, very important is to always taste If your salt is right, if your flavor of herbs are right, ensure you don't burn your mouth. Needs a little more salt. So I'm going to add a little more salt. And it needs a little more acidity. So again, add a little more of wine. Again, ensure that you're cooking everything at a slow fire because you want to cook this for a little longer for the flavors to develop. So again, we've adjusted the salt. Cook it for a little while. Okay, so now we're going to add this beautiful chili, Serrano chili. It's got this beautiful smoky flavor to it. We're adding a little bit of wine again, just so that it does not burn. And we're going to just mix it up well. Don't overcook because we don't want the chili to burn. Chili is the last that you add in any recipe because you don't want it to overburn. So we're going to just taste it. Perfect. I love this because it has the same consistent taste every time. It's never too tangy, it's never too overripe. It's just the perfect tartness, you know, and it just imparts its own flavor. So now, as you see, the sauce is done and we are done with the first step of this recipe. The way this dish has been designed is a little bit like lasagna, where you have layers coming, and each of the layers, it's the whole thing which adds to the taste. A little bit like tiramisu, you know, where you have a layer of mascarpone, you have a layer of ladyfinger, you have the flavors of coffee, but it's when you dig through all the layers is when the entire dish comes together. So of course you're going to see this dish as it gets done, but the idea is that you take a baguette, you take a nice crusty bread, and then you use the whole thing as a dip. So we're going to go through the second process now, where we are going to use mascarpone. The reason we've chosen mascarpone over here because it reminds me a little bit, or whenever I taste mascarpone, it reminds me a little bit of butter. It's basically like a cream or a double cream or a triple cream, which is always set with acid and they remove the whey. But it's the taste of the butter without the butteriness. You know, if there's a way, if I have to tell you about the flavor of this, you know, and therefore it's one of my most favorite. You have sour cream over here, and you also have a little bit of cream cheese, and we're going to mix all three of these together. The ratio will be 2 times this and 1 time of your sour cream and 1 time of your cream cheese, because we still want the flavor of the mascarpone to come together, but it's a little bit of a sweeter cream, so we want to balance the sweetness with little bit of acidity, so that's why the sour cream. And it's also a very light cream, so we want to make it a little dense, and that's why the cheese comes in. Yeah, so we're going to start with this. If you don't have this, you can just even whip it up at home together. So in this case, actually I'm going to try mixing it without this, just so that you can make this at home as well. And again, like I said, I'm taking 1 ratio of this, you know. Of course, when you blend it in this, it comes together very nicely, but we are going to just do this like how you'd mix a cake batter. And again, at the end, if you need, you add just a dash of salt, but I prefer it without the salt because I want the natural flavors of mascarpone to come through. And anyways, the cheese, the cream cheese is going to add a little bit of saltiness, so you don't need to really add the salt. And this is going to be the second layer of the dish. So we did the tomato thing, you know, as the first layer, and then this is going to be the second layer, and then tomato again as the third layer, and this is the fourth layer. That's how you kind of keep building the dish, and you can keep kind of layering. And then of course the last one is going to be the crumble, which we're going to be doing next. So see, without using the mixer, stand mixer, we've blended this. It's still light because of the mascarpone texture. So this is how we exactly want it to be. Okay, so we're going to do the last step of the dish, which is going to be the topmost layer, which is the crunch. What we have here is almond crumble. We have some brown sugar. You can even use a white sugar, but we were trying to be a little healthier at the same time because there's a lot of mascarpone which is already gone in the dish. There's the apple, green apple. You can take a red apple over here, and there's some melted butter. So what we do is we first add this. We're going to mix up a little bit of sugar. We're going to mix it up nicely because the sugar will caramelize and melt, and the almond will start roasting because of the process, and that's what will become like a nice crispy crust that comes on the top. It's almost like a, apple crumble cake, but it's a savory dish at the same time. So you've added the apple for a bit of tanginess to balance it's always about balancing the acid and the sweet. And then you're adding butter. Of course, I'm not adding all of the butter. You just add little at a time, just for all of this to just come together, So when it bakes, it's going to give a nice flavor as well as make it a little crispy. It's almost like when you're roasting almonds, and you roast it with a little bit of oil, it gives a nice crunchy layer to the almond. So that's what you're doing over here, So I'm going to add just a wee bit of butter. And then you can even taste it. It makes for a perfect snack. And this is what it looks like before it goes for baking. We have the sauce that we made with the fresh
Kagome tomato concentrate.
I call it fresh because the ingredients are straight from the farm and they're consistent, and I find the taste has never changed, So what we do is we start with layering this as the first layer. Again, like I said, think of it like you're making lasagna, where you're doing various layers, or like you're making your tiramisu. And then we made this mascarpone, so we're going to make this as a second layer. And then again we're going to add this as a layer, because what you're going to do is finally when you dig through this whole thing, you have these various flavors coming through. Also, it starts to look pretty if you look at it from the side, because what you eat with your eyes is half the story over here. And then this is the new element which I'm adding to the dish. At Love Fools, we are constantly innovating. Even to the same dish, we always see what else can be done, how else can we make the dish different, So I'm adding raspberry over here just for a bit of tanginess. The tomato over here is never too tangy because it's fresh, it's consistent. So I wanted a bit of tanginess coming through. So you have a little bit of that, And then the last layer, which is the apple crumble, which has just come out of the oven, and it's cooled down a bit just so that it becomes a little more crispy, and we add that right on the top. Ensure that there are enough and more apple flakes coming through, So that's your final dish, and it's great to eat with bread. Just pull it all out and spread it on your toast.